This will be a good. Hey guys, I'm on Zoom. Welcome. Good opportunity. I'm going to show you guys what for today's class, and then I'll show you. We'll finish up how to uh, get into DocuSign and complete our forms to send over via electronic signature. 1 second. Let me just share my screen. All right. So just so you know, as I mentioned, you do not need to remember everything that I am saying. I'm going to show you first a 25-minute version of classes today on the front page of KWB resources. Okay, so KWB resources, right? That's where I mentioned you can click on I need tech help on the top right to book with us anytime, one-on-ones, free for you once a week. Okay, but on the front page too, KWB resources, under the headshots of your staff, okay, these two videos. So the one on the bottom, that's a 25-minute version of what I'm saying. How to watch a video and pause it and follow along. So when you have your first transaction or your next transaction, I would recommend pulling up that video, pausing it, and following along. Okay. Right. It's not your job to remember all the different tech. It's your job to just remember where to get it when you need it. And a lot of times it's just finding it. Great. Or in this case, this video. Okay. This top one is when you go under contract. That's how to get paid. I'll circle back to that topic. Right. But lastly, let me show you if you prefer. I do have all of our notes written out as well. Right on the top here and under tech resources, the top black toolbar. You see live tech training from that drop down. The tech resources and then live tech training. That if you scroll down, you'll see the DocuSign notes right here. That's just where I have all the different videos on DocuSign collected for you, so you just have to go find them. And I'll put this in the chat, in the Zoom chat if you're online. But where this is again, the DocuSign option. And if you need steps to get here, let me know. This will give you a minute to do everything. Broke it down in a minute video and also as well. You prefer the that'll be right there for you. We're live. It's good now. Yeah, it should be now. So if you do like written steps, that's just that top option right here. Okay. Just so you know, because I know this is always all right, so as you know, right, and you can say where you are on your class. So again, where we started was right, which is really important, and this is a really important concept for you guys to understand, those of you in class as well who have been listening to me. Okay, this is really important for you to understand that you start every transaction in command like we did, and just to reiterate those steps, which help. Okay, these steps are important. You'll do it every time you start a transaction. We log into command, right, at agent.kw.com. Step 1, right? So step 1, we logged into command. Step 2, we click the option. Click create opportunity. You're in class, so don't feel like you have to repeat it. Okay, so step 3, we click create opportunity. The opportunity type, client and co-seller, commission rate. So if you guys are online, it's your first time hearing me say this, again, those 3 fields you fill out would be opportunity type, client, and co-seller. You can do the commission rate here. The fields we fill out. You'll see on the bottom it says create. You have to do transaction in DocuSign, it has to begin in Command for the two to link together, okay? And again, those final steps that we already did if you were in class, but again, that was selecting the documents tab on the top white toolbar, picking the checklist type, if that's a North Carolina listing or a sale, and selecting start a transaction on the right-hand side. Again, those are the steps you have to do every single time you start a transaction in Command. Once you start the transaction, that you can always go directly to DocuSign, but it's important that you write down what the URL is, because it's not DocuSign.com, it's rooms.docusign.com. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that because it's so important. So you started your transaction, just quickly get to your form that your clients to sign. You can go directly to rooms.docusign.com. However, it's imperative that you start your transaction first. Always start from starting a new transaction, started from commit. After that, you can just quickly go to rooms.docusign.com if you need to. Just one thing to understand, like we started in Command. See why that's so important as this plays out. All right. So whether you are in class or you're just joining online, okay, we're going we can all get the same page, the rooms.docusign. Okay, select the DocuSign room, and we're in the Documents tab of that room. So now how we type in the right? Clicking on it to start typing, right? And now you should all have access. If you do not have access to your forms online, let me know and I'll send you a quick video to get access to those. Drop it in the chat if so. All right, so what you're going to see is a lot of the information autofills from KW Command. Okay, one of the first reasons that's been able to start from Command. So we all work on information autofill and like information that does not autofill, as easy as clicking to start typing. Address fields will pop out a calendar. Date fields will pop out a calendar. Address fields, you can click on start the address. The thing about that is it will autofill back and forth between the forms. If I say address and time here, it will fill that on all the other my DocuSign room. Okay. So this stage, all we're doing is we're going through and we're typing into the form. You won't see the initial fields until after we're doing here is filling in the form. And you can go ahead and click on save and close at the very top. Okay, so just to use your imagination that we went through and filled in the entire form. First step is fill in the entire form. So let's say I want to go ahead and send agents an exclusive right to sell to my clients to sign. Okay, so again, first step would be I clicked on each one and I typed the form to fill it out. So now I'm going to send that to my clients to sign by clicking on the check boxes on the top left of the forms that I want to send them. So let's say that's the exclusive right to sell and the working with real estate agents, let's say. And again, in our imagination, we've already clicked to open it and type in any fields we would need to fill in as the agent. Now you'll notice when I click these check boxes on the top left of the form, that's when this bulk action menu appears. So notice it's not there at all until I click the check box, and you'll notice this menu then appears. Okay, so that's a little sneaky in my opinion. So you click the check boxes first. And you'll see this menu right here. You want to click on the create option, so it looks like a pin icon from that menu. Just a heads up, from here, you can also print it. So in the case that you wanted to just print it and bring it on your appointment, so you could explain the listing agreement in person and have them hand sign it, there is an option to print up here as well. But in this case, of course, the benefit of DocuSign is that you can click create envelope to send the form for electronic signatures so they can sign it right from their phone, so you don't have to go all the way there. Okay, so the first thing that it's doing is going to ask you, okay, who needs to sign the form? Because it's going to set up the signature fields for you. Okay, so I'm going to do seller 1 and 2 and the listing agent. Okay, the listing agreement, so I need to sign the agent, and seller 1 and 2. And click continue. And it always takes about 30 to 45 seconds here to load. It's pulling over their contact information from it. So just a second. And then it'll load what is called the envelope. Since the envelope channel snail mail here, okay, so if I were going to mail something in the actual mail, first thing I would do is grab the forms. Check, did that. Next thing I would do is I would add the recipients to the envelope, right? Okay, so main thing that you need to know here is, first of all, it's going to show automatically your clients, who it's going to, right, and their email, ideally. And it shows that they can sign. Now, the main thing that you guys need to know is the 1, 2, and 3 here, okay? So by default, that's always on. And what that's saying is that person number 2 will not get the form to sign until after person number 1 has done their job. And person number 3 will not get the form until after person number 1 and number 2 signs, okay? I'm going to tell you when you need to, but in general, it's just important that you how you explain it. You know, so if you send it 1, 2, 3, and then tell them all, hey, I just need one over. Well, no, you didn't. 2 of them, right? Because they're before I tell you that, you know, A, you can leave it on, and that's fine. Just make sure you explain it correctly. B, you could just uncheck it, and it'll send it to everyone at the same time. Okay. Now here's the noteworthy moment. The time you definitely do want to use this. So the reason that it's on by default, okay? If it's a form they need to fill in, and the ones I can think of, feel free to pitch in, the residential property disclosure and mineral oil gas. They need to fill that in. If it's fill in, that's like this. You would need to share it in a 1, 2, 3 order, because what would happen is the person marked with a 1 would get the form to be able to fill in the entire, right? So fill in the residential property and sign it. And then once they do that, then it sends it to person number 2 so that they can go ahead and form that they need to fill. Most of the time you fill out, right? You fill out form property disclosure, right? They need to put in the age that something they might, right? In that case, if you want to get the ability to fill that out, 2 and 3 really comes in handy. You'll want to share it like that. Again, that enables person number 1 to fill out like a residential property disclosure inside. Person number 2 would then just have the option to straight up sign what person number 1 is. I have, you know, residential property disclosure and in person, right? Like any of this that hits your head, you can be right, open tech time. You can take it Friday 12 to 12:30. Okay, so if you want to do it, I'll do it with you. And we'll do it together. Any questions on the 1, 2, and 3? Any questions on 1, 2, and 3? Do we get something for it? You would like it to send to everyone else. That's the residential property disclosure. Okay, so after that, right, there's nothing more we really have to do, okay? I will say, changing the subject line does help your organization, right? So if you do change the subject that helps your organization, but you do not have to, and you can click on next. Okay. All you're doing is really checking over your work and we can send it. But let me show you what. You come down to the bottom of the page that would have signatures. My system automatically adds in my clients need to sign based on their seller buyer, what their role is. Now you'll notice on the top left as well, you'll see a drop down menu that has different colors associated to your clients, right? That's showing you that color, the color blue, for example, is client number one, right? The color purple, client number two. So I can easily see here that they can sign where they need to sign. Same with the listing agreement here, right? I'm yellow as the listing agent, and then I can see my client's signatures here. So it does it for you. All you have to really do on this page is, well, check over your work, right? Make it so you can sleep. This is what I do. I click on preview on the top right, and then you can preview the form exactly how your clients would sign it. So on the top right, I usually just put preview on this page. And you'll see on the top left, okay, who am I doing this as? Who am I doing the form as? My clients. This would just show me, okay, I could go through and click on start and see all the different fields it would make them sign and exactly how they're going to be taken through the form. All your questions, you can see how they're being taken through the form, or you can make sure also what Abra, your broker in charge, is set up fields go, so you can have faith that they're set up correctly. So really, I'm just going through and checking that it's set up correctly, and I can click that on the top right and get out of the preview and click send. Okay, Christian. So again, okay, the yellow send button is on the bottom right. You can send access to contact, or you can click access right to bar, wrap or discard. So you can send it. Access on the top right. Okay, I need to know. I need to show you guys how to with signing form. Here's how to get those are important things. What to do if you go under contact, page, and how to sign. So now send it for out the form and send it for electronic signature. Now what happens? Email to sign. If it's a form that you need to sign, we'll do two things. It sends to your email to sign, and usually I put a different email, but usually it'll allow you to sign it right from here. So most of our time so far in the documents app, DocuSign, we accessed our blank forms and filled them out, right? Where you fill out your forms. The second most place you'll spend your time in the DocuSign room is this envelope tab. Okay, that's where we are. And that'll show you any time that you have sent one or a group of forms for electronic signature. Why this is important for you to know. So again, an envelope, you'll have a separate envelope each time that you send one or multiple times. What this shows you is if I click on it, usually it'll give me the option to sign right from here as well. Okay, so you can see. Okay, what's important for you to know is the copy will not be signed until all parties have signed the form. If one person hasn't signed it, it holds up the process. Right? So what happens again when someone signs, when a party signs it, someone signs it, you get a notification as the agent via email. Each time a client signs, you'll have the attachment of the form signed by just that client. You do not have to really sign in your DocuSign room until all parties sign. Someone tells you, oh, I signed it. This is how you can resend it. And they'll only resend it to parties who have not signed or not here. But other helpful things under more as well, right? You can come in here and I'm sorry, the correct option there. You can go in and check if you have any issues, like you sent it and you're like, oh crap, I did something wrong, right? You can how I got in here, if you're looking at my screen, I'm gonna X out. But how I got in here is just simply from the envelope, it shows you anytime that one or multiple forms to be signed. You can click on that and you can sign from there as the agent. You can see if your clients have signed, it'll give you a check mark and it'll say signed, they've signed, and you can see who has not signed and resend it if they have not. Go. Click on send, but you don't. And then, yeah, you can click on that. Exactly. And that'll take you exactly here. As you want to resend it or correct it, etc. This is where you can sign up the agent or it does. Okay, next important thing for you guys to know about signed forms is, and this is going to be something you'll more need to watch in my screen here. But one thing, so you'll notice that all the icons, right? I'm going to show you 3 different icons that show up here. So the icon right here, that blue form icon, means that if I click on the form, I can click and start typing, right? All of your forms most likely have that. If you're still where I was in the envelopes tab, if you want to click the documents tab to see that blue forms icon, and I'll show you how to add more of those as well. So that blue form icon is going to be your interactive form. So the original form you can just start typing in. You'll notice if I click on add on the top right side DocuSign room, blue button, that same icon shows up on the drop down list, right? The second option down is DocuSign forms. So that means you can click on that to access all of your and again, if I lost you at all, I click on add on the top right of the DocuSign, selected DocuSign form. On the left side, what I'm looking at is these packets basically create smaller categories of the forms. So whereas your libraries have all of the forms for North Carolina and South Carolina, let's say, your broker and charges have broken down the forms into, let's say, only North Carolina listing forms, only North Carolina sales forms. So I like to put the packets at the top. If I am adding more forms, and remember, it the required forms for you. So let's say, I need a lead-based or whatever the case may be, right? You can come in here and click on any of the other forms that you want to pull in and just simply click that. That's how you add or stop if you have big thing to note when it comes back signed. Okay. So again, the blue icon means it's interactive. I can click to start typing. It's always the one without signatures. Whereas if it comes back signed, or when it comes back signed, you'll see it comes back as a totally separate copy of the form, the green signed icon. So I'll always have the original copy in my DocuSign room. And it'll also come back as a signed copy that's a PDF, meaning, of course, I can't just start typing it. So it'll preserve the signatures on the PDF. So the signed copy, again, will always be a separate copy. And then of course you can add PDFs as well. So now the next part is very important for you to know how to add the sign forms to your command account. This is the home stretch here, the command account, so that you can get paid, okay? And again, this is something that you would do anytime that you have anytime that you go under contract. You have to add your paperwork to get paid, okay? So I'm gonna switch tabs slightly here. Well, switch tabs on the top of my browser. So whereas we spent all this time in DocuSign, okay, in that tab, the blue icon up there, blue and red DocuSign icon, if you can switch tabs to go back to your opportunities in command, it should have a red KW logo on the tab, and that should still be open for you. You can navigate back to the opportunity, and I can help you with that. Okay, so this is an important takeaway as well, right? What's the difference when I first started using this? What's the difference between the Documents tab of my opportunity and the Documents tab of my DocuSign room? Okay, so let me tell you the difference between how DocuSign and Command work together. Okay, so again, all this time we spent in DocuSign in the Documents tab, and the Documents tab in DocuSign is used to use the agent access your form and send it to your clients for electronic signature. So the Documents tab of DocuSign here is used between you as the agent and your client to get forms signed. Whereas once they come back signed, right, with this green signed icon, that's when I come into the Documents tab of Command. Okay, so this is KW Command. And I add my signed document. The Documents tab of your bank account is used with the office, so you can get paid. Documents tab of your opportunity here is between the agent and the office to get paid, whereas the Documents tab of DocuSign is used between you and the agent and your client to get your form signed. Okay, so let me show you now how that next step plays out. I think it'll make a little for you. Okay. So again, in our imaginary transaction, at this point, we have gotten our forms signed, right? They came back signed with the green signed icon. So now I need to submit my paperwork to the office so I can get paid. So that's when I'm in the Opportunities tab of Command in the Documents tab, and that's when this checklist comes in handy. Okay, so like we did when we started the transaction, right? We selected the checklist. And if you can apply it, just a heads up, the first one will be something like consultation. You can click on under contract first to really see the checklist. That's if you get the buyer opportunity. You'll see all the different forms that you need in order to get paid. It says required next to it. So what I do usually is click on the requirement header to sort all the fields usually, or all the forms in the order of, okay, what's required. I want all the required ones. Meaning there are conditional forms, like if it was after or before 78, then you need to let it change, right? But that's what conditional means versus the required forms you would need every single transaction, okay? Looking at that and getting your eyes crossed. Again, I used to do compliance for the office. You can come meet me in the hub for a protect time. I'll do it with you. So I'll tell you what you need to know for this. So as we're adding in forms to be signed, and I'm doing listed under contract and closed over here. So let's say listed. On the right-hand side, I sorted by requirement, and then I see, okay, right here on the right-hand side, if you created this in DocuSign, so since you created this in DocuSign, you'll see a drop down. Okay. Now, if your forms were actually signed or you had a PDF, it will only show you signed forms in this drop down. Okay, I know right now it says no options. You don't have any signed forms. Okay, but the practice is all we're doing is coming in and we're clicking the drop down and we're aligning, okay, what's the signed form named in DocuSign to make sure that it's right here for the opportunity, and it'll pull it open for KW. Okay, again, what I'm doing when I go live in the MLS, it will tell you when you want to be doing this. But in general, we want to add our signed paperwork each time right here from the checklist. And click the drop down to pull that over to DocuSign directly. Or you got your forms hand signed. That's totally fine too, you guys. You can get your forms hand signed and you can scan that right to your computer. And often the scanner does that. I can show you after class if you'd like. And instead of it pulling in from DocuSign, you can instead select from my computer, and that'll just be a drag and drop situation or browse your computer. So if you did get it hand signed, and that happens all the time, right? You can send it into the office. There, so you have email it to you, right? Yeah. So then you can just add right from here. Next part is the final stretch for your brain to remember, because this is so worthy. When do I do this, right? What do I add in my paper? Okay. And so if you're listening, different you want to add your paperwork, your signed paperwork in, and click submit to MC. Okay. Each time that you go live in the MLS. Okay. So the first time that you submit to the Market Center, right, for compliance review, it's the first time when you go live in the MLS. 3 days live in the MLS. That week would definitely be your goal. But again, what we're doing and what I mean is you're adding your signed paperwork and clicking submit to MC, okay, so that they do check. We go live in the MLS. That's the time when we go into ideally 3 days of going to contract. Come into where it says contact and add the contact paperwork. And then third time when you close, so the close option here, again, third time you would come in and add the closing paperwork and click submit to MC. If you do it all at once at close, it will hold your computer check, not to be mean, but so they can do compliance, right? Because when you jeopardize your license or do something incorrectly, it jeopardizes the broker and trucker's license. So that's why they do such extensive compliance. So what will happen when you put your signed paperwork in is we have a wonderful person named Carla, compliance, and she checks through all of your forms to make sure you've got the signatures in the right spots. You put data where it's supposed to go. Keep out of real estate sales. But if he gives you any corrections, you'll get an notification and an email. Look out for that. And that's why you wait for closing to submit your paperwork. Because she might tell you, hey, you need these corrections. Okay. So again, when it's your listing, you submit it for compliance review 3 times. Once when you go live in the MLS, a second time when you go under contract, and a third time when you close. If you're representing the buyer, you only have to submit under contract. Okay. So again, and what you're doing, what I mean by that, right, is adding in your signed paperwork here and clicking submit to MC. That's Market Center. They don't look at your forms other. And if that needs your eyes crossed, right, or you're not under contract right now, that's going to be later. 2 things, right? Come see me in the hub and I'll do it with you. But this is also what's on the homepage of KWB resources. Okay, I would recommend that to be your takeaway. Right, is on KWB resources on the homepage under the staff headshots. That's where you have these videos. The bottom one is this class today in 25 minutes. So you can pause it and follow along. This one right here is what to do when you go under contract. Okay, so I'll show you how to submit your paperwork and do your compliance commission. Questions? All of that? Or any questions? Remember all of that, right? Job is those people exist. Come find me when you need it. Right? Does anyone have any questions on DocuSign or anything to be related? Yeah. Love it. You need printers added to your laptop, so your laptops can print to the printers. Liz will do that for you. Just roll by and ask when she's free, now perhaps, and do that. In the meantime, too, though, those the computers and those can print directly this printer, so you can go ahead and print. And would you guys like to see how you can scan things to yourself? Okay, great. Okay, great. And is there a question? Great, perfect. Okay, so if you want to take a field trip to the scanner, we can. You have all your names at the end. We'll share clothes, that helps. Tech Tuesday, that's today. I don't know the day. Oh, it's not December, that's for sure. So I'm gonna like. Here, okay, so you're already in there, so this will pop up and you'll click on device address book. And in case it isn't up, just so you make sure I click on scan too. This is usually ready, but I can click on device address book. And then you can start typing in your name. Click search. And it'll find it in there. You can simply click on your name. And it should automatically show you if it's not Lindy had you in, but that's recording when you start with us. You just search your name. And then you want to put it face up. And then you can click on scan. Scan it right to your email, PDF.
All right.
My recommendation would be if you are scanning in, let's say, an entire sales file, I would scan in like the buyer agency separate from the residential property disclosure from the contract, right? So they're separate files, since you have to add it to the opportunity, separate file.
Did it allow you to scan?
It will once you download it to your computer for sure,
Okay.
perhaps, right? I want to say,
And is there a charge for scanning?
yeah, I forget, did she tell you?
No, I just didn't. I've never
I
been.
think I can tell you what I
Oh,
think
you
the
mean for the
printing
print?
cost
The
is,
printing
yeah,
is 25
for color,
for color and 15 for, I think, for
black and white.
black and white.
Yeah.